Welcome back, Simian Squad, to another Reddit Wednesday with more Neckbeard stories. I'm your host, Mr. Sean, and today we have 3 tales of neckbeardiness for your enjoyment. Let's begin. Our first story is entitled, My Teacher is an Incel Neckbeard. Oh, do I have a story for you. So I just started my sophomore year, and my school hired a ton of new teachers. One of those new teachers is Mr. A. Mr. A is tall, slightly chunky, white male, with glasses and the most glorious neckbeard of all time. I have his class first period, so lucky me. I get to see him every other day. On the first day of school, he shows up to school in a fedora with steampunk decor on the side, gears and stuff. And I was so shocked. I could not believe that he was a real human being. He then proceeds to take off his hat and walk to the front of the classroom with his chin up in the air and his hands behind his back, like a true gentleman. He introduces himself as Sire A. I almost peed my pants from laughing so much. A couple weeks later, we have Spirit Week for homecoming. The first day was Decades Day, and my dude shows up in a whole steampunk outfit. Steampunk is cool, but this definitely wasn't. He had on a long blazer and a top hat and everything. By now, I knew he was the biggest neckbeard I have ever seen. The next couple of weeks, nothing too out there happens. He just is really creepy, especially to all the girls, and he always is the one who calls me out if my skirt is too short. Just weird stuff like that. He constantly uses terminology like Chad or Stacy, which is why I think he's definitely an incel. But yeah, nothing too crazy happens. Until one day, his school computer was getting fixed by IT, so he uses his personal computer. He was showing the class a PowerPoint when his computer crashed, and on the projector, his home screen was displayed for everyone to see. It was an anime girl with her freaking boobs out. At this point, I couldn't hold on to my laughter. I was howling. He just tried to play it cool and said, sorry. But no one let it slide that easy. Now every time I see him, all I can think about is his screensaver. Now guys, I've been trying to give the beards in these stories the benefit of the doubt. Like at a good first part of this story, I was thinking, well, maybe he's just kind of a weird guy, and the OP's just being a little too hard on him because it's like, oh, look at the weird guy, I bet he's a neckbeardy little incel. But, especially for things like calling her out for her skirt being too short. I know there's this whole idea that we need to stop policing young women's clothing, but again, a dress code is a dress code, and I don't necessarily think men or women teachers should be considered pervy for noticing that someone is breaking said dress code, especially as the dress code, whether it's good or bad, is a rule that the teachers are said they do have to enforce it. But, that last part, combined with every little detail that you could give the benefit of the doubt, the fact that he was using his personal home computer, his laptop, I would suppose, and he didn't bother to change the background. Now that shows a level of neckbeardy incel unawareness that I cannot argue devil's advocate on this guy. I would say the OP definitely gave him the right classification, and it's a little upsetting to know that this man is teaching children. Our next story is entitled, Middle School Neckbeard Never Gives Up Even After I Express My Hate. So this is my first Reddit post, bear with me. I am also on mobile, so I'm not saying that this is going to be the best post. I'm going to try my best to give you my story though. I actually was inspired to write this post by watching a lot of r/videos. Characters: me, 8th grade, long dirty blonde hair with a fit body. I was always at my dance studio, so it was a given that I never had time to do anything. Neckbeard, who we will call Naruto. Your classic neckbeard. Overweight, wore anime t-shirts, had a neckbeard, smelly, annoying, probably also an incel nice guy, wore a fedora a few times, but school dress code made him take it off. Other minor characters will be described later. This starts in 8th grade. I walk into my first hour class, which is history. This teacher is respectfully disliked among all the students. Looking back, I actually quite like her now. She was actually a pretty good teacher. We were her last year of students. She cried telling us she was retiring, and I can't deny that I was a bit tearful as well. We will call the teacher Mrs. NASCAR. I sit down in my seat and pull out my binder. This teacher had weekly binder checks. All was pretty normal for the most part. My boyfriend at the time, who we'll call Curly, glances at my binder and made sure his was correct. He has troubles with neatness and tends to lose his stuff. As Mrs. NASCAR was walking around, we all hear a knock on the door. Being nosy, as we all are, we turn and stare at the door as our very short teacher walks and opens it. In walks Naruto, our neckbeard. He wore very worn down jeans and a Naruto t-shirt, hence his name. There was an open seat at Curly and I's table, so the teacher sits him down there. Class goes about as normal, other than a few murmurs shared by the meaner people in the class about Naruto's appearance. I was used to blocking it out, but with a short glance at Naruto, you could tell he was way more than used to it. He paid no attention to the attention whores of the class. No surprise, no one did. When we have a few minutes after class, I contemplate bringing up Naruto to the neckbeard. At the time, I was stupid and didn't know the stereotype of a neckbeard, so I built up the courage and spoke to him. "Do you like Naruto?" He turns to me very slowly. "Yeah, Kakashi is my favorite. You know of him?" "Yeah, I've watched it all. It was one of my first animes. It's not my favorite, though." Naruto seemed shocked by this. "It's not? Then you obviously didn't watch it fully." "Oh no, I did, but I prioritized other animes over it. Still liked watching it, though. Where'd you come from?" I asked. "Insert place. They weren't exactly all that nice to me," Naruto explains, pulling sympathy cards from out of his ass. I know now. "Oh, cool. I'm from insert place. I haven't lived here long." I started to talk more, but the bell rang, and Curly pulled me up and jokingly pushed me around. I'm kind of rough with people I trust, and I gave Curly specific permission to roughhouse a bit with me. Naruto pinched his eyebrows together. "That's not how you should treat a lady." My socially awkward boyfriend looked up at him. "Oh, she's fine with it. It's kind of bonding to us." "Women are fragile." "I assure you, I'm not fragile, Naruto. I have a brother, and I'm always at dance. I have lots of muscle, and I'm used to being hurt. It'll take a lot more than this to leave a bruise," I assure him. Naruto just kind of huffs and walks away to hurry and find his next class. I broke up with my boyfriend for personal reasons a few months later. We are still on good terms though, so it's totally fine now. This will play in later. Naruto and I would talk mainly during our first hour, and not many other times. Eventually, he began coming to my locker and hanging out before going to class. Personally, I know I've always been too nice to people. Naruto was a bit weird to me, and I was visibly uncomfortable with him being there. Plus, he stank. Bad. Being my introverted self, I couldn't tell him to leave though, and it was and still is very hard for me to say no. Eventually, people start talking. They're asking me about Naruto, and eventually they get to telling me the rumors. According to one girl who I will call Sub, short for Stuck Up B, whispers to me, "You know that notebook he's always carrying around?" Naruto always had this worn-down notebook he carried to every class and drew in. He flaunted his amazing drawings, which, I'm sorry to say, were horrible, and wrote in it like a journal. Yeah. "Well, we stole it and looked at it," Sub explained, snickering and glancing between her little minion friends. I was kind of against this, even though I shared a bit of the dislike with this boy that everyone else did. "And?" "He wrote in it about you. He said you're his everything. He would die without you, and you are his future wife and first love. He loves you so much and would do anything for you. It's hilarious." "Oh, he said that?" "Sub, I've barely had a conversation with him since the first day he came to school. He constantly talks about his dick and anime and anime waifus and doesn't shut up. Did you give him his notebook? I disliked this boy, but I wanted the best for him at the time. Yeah, we got bored." Fast forward a few months to when we had a few little school dances. They were not formal at all. You could show up in normal school clothes, and the administrators wouldn't bat an eye. People are being asked out all around me. I don't really care, considering I have dance that weekend anyway. As I'm about to walk to science, Naruto grabs me from behind around the waist and hugs me to his body. I flinch super hard and practically jump out of his arms, my things falling to the floor. I had been in an abusive relationship about half a year beforehand, but it still affected me and still does with contact. Yes, I was young. Anyone can go through abuse at any age from of any form. OP, I wish I could ask you right now, was it the boyfriend that you said you're still on good terms with that you broke up with? Or was it a non-romantic relationship? I'm curious, but I don't want to delve too personally. Maybe they'll explain later. Want to go to the dance with me? Naruto asked, like I hadn't almost swung and punched his face in. Naruto? No. And why did you just hug me like that? I barely talk to you, I retort. We talk all the time. No, you talk. I pretend to listen and just nod. I've told you before to please move away from all my things, but you never stay away. You've never said that. I have, many times actually. Now please walk away. I need to get my things and get the hell to science. Why are you so pissed? Because you hugged me like my effing abuser, Naruto. Do you not understand how bad that hurts me? I was practically yelling by now, but I couldn't yell too loud because I was right next to my favorite teacher's class. I couldn't have him disliking me. My logic was stupid. We're in 8th grade. You've never been abused. I was dumbfounded by that remark. I just stormed off and didn't say anything, blinded by rage, but also about to burst into tears. The next few days consisted of me turning Naruto down after even more attempts to get me to go with him to the dance and avoiding him at all costs. He became a plague after I spread around what he was like. One day, I get a text. Hey, it's Naruto. I just wanted to say you're very hot and you're the most amazing person I've ever seen. Nudes? ? It would make up for you yelling at me when I touched you so erotically. You liked it, obviously. What the F? You obviously do not deserve anything from me. Calm the hell down. Just send me nudes and it will be good. 1. Child prawn. 2. No. 3. Hell no. 4. Get the hell out of my life, you sick freak. I stopped texting him after that. Every now and again, I'll get some text from him that usually ends in me going off. I can post more if wanted. There are plenty of stories with him. This was a summary. Thanks. OP, this is a very unfortunate story. One, I am sorry that you had to go through an abusive relationship at such a young age. 2, I'm sorry you had to deal with this beard who, again, gets a little bit at first of leeway due to the fact that he is in middle school. But again, the harassing girls for nudes, he's old enough to know that's not okay. One of the things in this story that was that sparked a memory for me is how in most middle school classes you would sit at tables instead of individual desks like you do in high school, and I'd kind of forgotten about that, but now I can't stop thinking about that was definitely, I remember transitioning over to high school with individual desks was a change, especially when most middle school classes you were in groups at various tables. Kind of an interesting trip down memory lane, but yeah, overall, OP, I'm glad you got out of this. I'm glad you're doing better. Alright guys, we've got one more story coming up, but if you like this content, please be sure to like, please be sure to comment, and please be sure to subscribe. Also share the video around with your friends, share the channel. If you have a story you'd like to hear me read, be sure to head on over to r/Mr. Sean Reads Stories and post your story there. Link is in the description. And our final story today, guys, is I'm a LARPing schoolgirl furry. Hello everyone. I have time to kill at work, so I thought I would tell you another story about a neckbeard I met when I attended a con. This is definitely the stupidest story and the stupidest thing that has ever happened to me, but it's such a fond memory, I have to share it. For context, this was about 2 years ago when I wasn't in the anime scene anymore, but my friend, who was still very much in the scene, wanted me to attend the con so she wasn't by herself. I don't mind too much. I don't dislike anime, but like I explained in my last story, I'm into K-pop more. I actually received a Haruhi Suzumiya costume from my dad, who tried to be very much into my interests. God bless his heart. For Christmas, and since I didn't have anything else to wear, I decided F it and wore the cosplay to the con. My friend Kate, she's a really cool girl, she's hilarious, and she knows how cringy weebs and neckbeards can be, so we always have a blast watching weeaboos prance around cons making fools of themselves. Me and Kate were randomly walking around the stalls looking at all the stuff, and there we see it, the perfect opportunity to act like idiots. A furry stall selling ears and tails. Being the idiot I am, I bought the ears and the tail, with my friend whispering in my ear, "Do it for the meme." So, for the entire day, I acted like a dog and barked, hissed, and at some people, walked on the floor and just acted like an absolute embarrassment. But it was probably one of the funniest days I've ever had. It was a really sunny day, so people were going in and out of the place to go to the beach or to the field next to it. It was a local con, so the venue wasn't really impressive. On this field, to me and Kate's delight, there were Larpers, live-action role players. Obviously, being the idiots that me and Kate were, we went onto the LARP field and began to ironically LARP against each other. The crowd of LARPers on the field grew immensely after time went on, so all that the generic public could see was a bunch of grown men and women hitting each other with plastic swords, casting spells, and screaming. Here's where the neckbeard comes in. While I'm on the floor hissing at Kate, a very tall, well, I'm 4'11", so everyone's very tall, quite chubby man with your average neckbeard features, yet again, no fedora, but like I had previously expressed, it's about the fedora. He had a long black coat, and he was carrying a giant plastic sword. I'm not sure what anime it was from. It looked like something from Soul Eater. He comes up to me and says, "Very Haruhi, I like your style, kid." I would rather have someone shit in my mouth and call my dad a racist than have someone use the nickname kid on me. My friend Kate, God I love her, says to him, "Be careful, she bites," to which I barked at him. And you know what he does? He pets my head and says, "Calm down, little pup." Girl, this made me a bit uncomfortable, so I just kind of backed away a bit. Then we had this conversation with him. "Care for a quick battle?" "Yeah, no, sorry, I'm a newbie and I don't think I can quite take on your level of LARPing expertise." I see Kate in the corner of my eye, trying to contain her laughter. He laughed and then said, "I'll go easy on you," and wiggled his glasses like they do on animes where the character is meant to look cool. Keeping the straightest face as possible, I politely declined again, and that was when he asked me if I would like to stroll down the beach with him. I had to politely decline again because I thought my boyfriend at the time wouldn't find it that funny when I would tell him I strolled down the beach with a strange LARPer. He replied saying, "Oh, drats. Who the F says drats anymore?" But yeah, me and Kate managed to escape from him until I got a friend request from him that evening. I'm guessing he found me through the event page on Facebook? I don't know. The friend request is still there on my Facebook, and I plan to leave it there, untouched. Thanks for reading. Sadly, my other experiences with neckbeards don't include LARPing furries, but instead include 15-year anime-obsessed me not knowing how to handle awkward situations even more than my other stories. I'll write another one soon. Hearts! Well, guys, we're running ahead of schedule today, so we're going to try and fit one more story in here. So we have this other story called One of Many Neckbeards in Ye Old High School Days. He asked her to draw him prawn. If you read the title, you got that right. Hey Arabota, is me, Kay. Ray is good. Y'all know Ray. She's artsy and cute and stuff. Okay, they must have posted other stories that I'm not aware of. So back in high school, Ray and I were both bullied a lot. She was introverted and awkward. I was nerdy and edgy. Sadly, these bullies were more drawn to Ray because she's quiet and shy and was less likely to say anything. However, shy and introverted draws more than just bullies. It also draws neckbeards. Not sure which is worse. Ray signed up for an animation course in high school. Not much animation though, it was more like basic GIFs, GIF not GIF, and easier computer stuff. She had a couple art people she knew alright in that class. One of them was A. Now, I don't believe you people have had the pleasure of meeting A yet. A is in a word, greasy. He's about as wide as he is tall, 5'5"-ish, about my height give or take, wore the same button-up every day, had a patchy scruff or hair growing on his face and neck, and had long oily black hair, and I mean oily. You could take that hair and wring it out and grease your car engine up. It was that oily. He was the guy who drew poorly drawn anime women for every assignment. Now, I have nothing against the anime art style. I've seen some great anime stuff. Spirited Away and Castlevania are two things that come to mind. But when you're drawing a pair of giant Z-cup anime tits, gravity-defying green hair, and the same face, that doesn't qualify as art. I don't think so. Maybe I'm just an art prude, but that's what I believe in. But back to the matter at hand, A was in the same animation course, and walked in and saw the sweet, shy, artsy girl sitting at a computer. Naturally, he sat next to her. Ray is sweet, and she'll converse with just about anyone, as long as they're respectful. A didn't really say anything alarming until one day he came in, sat down, and was doing the usual watching her draw after she finished her assignments. It was apparently super easy credits, while I barely passed AP Physics, shaking my head, when he said something along the lines of, "Hey, you know those animal people I've been gushing about and been showing you?" Ray said, "Yeah." "Well, could you draw them?" Red alert, abort, abort. "Well, what did you have in mind?" "Ray, you delicate, naive, sophisticated newborn baby, run. Run far." "Can you draw them naked, having sex?" Cue Ray dying on the inside. "No." "But..." She stood and grabbed her stuff. "No." She walked to another computer and sat down and resumed drawing non-prawny things. Good for you, Ray. Good for you. I will say, with all the criticism we give the Neckbeards, you do have to admire their sheer audacity and bravado. I don't think I could walk up to someone, any type of casual acquaintance, and ask them to draw me lewd or nude or XXX drawings of a character. Do I have friends who I know if I asked them to do that, they probably would be okay with it in whatever various field of arts and craft they do? Absolutely. But, people that you don't know all that well, one, you don't know if that's going to offend them, and two, that's putting all your perviness out there on display, and while it's typically there's not a good result from it, I will give credit where credit's due. To be that self-assured that you can do that with no shame takes a lot more confidence than someone like me has. And those are our stories, guys. I hope you enjoyed the fact that we got a nice little bonus story today, and we're still keeping it under 30 minutes as was requested. Again, if you have your own story, please head on over to r/Mr. Sean Reads Stories to post it there so that it can appear in a future video. Also, if you feel like being monetarily of help to this channel, you can consider becoming a Patreon patron or a channel member, or even just heading on over to eBay and Mercari. Links for all of those are in the description. Over on eBay, I do have a wide variety of custom miniatures. Some of them are even of the spicy variety, and no, you don't have to ask me, they're already made. Of course, I also have several normal, non-spicy miniatures, and I'm currently working on self-publishing a number of RPG mini campaign scenarios for download, and I'll post links to those when they're done. But until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Mr. Sean Productions, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.